today's topic is powerful, and let me bring it in. Okay, so as executive coaches and leadership coaches, myself and my team, we've been hard at work with really bettering, really looking at the sustainability of workplace, of work culture, especially in pertaining to mental health, well-being of executives, of leaders in both SMEs and multinational companies. We're not just talking about one or the other, because at the end of the day, the pandemic, in its uncertainty and its virtual remote culture, has affected many people. Whether you run businesses, you own businesses, or you are being salaried in an organization, the impact is there and just the same. So we've been hard at work, and we've realized something very crucial. We've realized that in workplaces where the culture lack empathy and compassion, there is one important criteria where results and performance is still important. While performance and result is still important sustainably and for the many months to come as we open our economies back up, how do we then integrate empathy, the care, and the personal compassion for our team? And where does that go overboard that performance gets affected? So it's a constant weighing scale. How many of you can see we're on a weighing scale here? And that is what today's discussion is going to be. All right, so my name is Marissa Ng. I'm the CEO and founder of the Spark Group Asia. Hey, Nick, Karenisa, nice to have you here. Before I go on, I want to bring on our amazing panelists who will join our discussion today. So the first person that I want to bring up is an amazing person who has done a lot of work as well in the human resource, HR space, business growth space. I want to bring up Coach Jean. Guys, can you help me welcome Coach Jean Uy? Woo! Everybody say hello.
Hello,
All right.
everybody. Thanks, Marissa. It's great to be back again on our Leadership Live Wire. So my name is Jean. Just call me Jean, and I'm just excited over this session. I am an HR manager. I'm also an associate leadership coach, leadership intelligence coach at TSG Asia, short for the Spark Group Asia. So the topic today is just close to my heart, and we've been doing a lot of work recently around this topic. So we're talking about it today because we really want to hear what you think about empathy at the workplace. It's a buzz thing right now. So I think that's all I want to say right now, because I want to get into the topic, Marissa.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you, Jean. The next person that I want to bring up is also someone that's amazing, that has been doing a lot of work with us. So really want to weigh in. Wow, the world is so small. Thank you so much, Kamaru Zaman. And let me know, all right, guys, if you have any thoughts on this. Before I do that, I want to bring up none other than Coach Elin. So everybody, help me welcome Elin and Shidi. Nice to have you. Wow, there's so many amazing stars in here. Elin, tell us about yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be in this Leadership Live Wire again. As Marissa said, I'm Elin. I'm one of the leadership intelligence coach with the Spark Group Asia. At the same time, as a manager and leaders for the past 30 years, managing people, leading teams, empathy, compassion is something that we always have to balance with productivity and performance. And how do we do it, especially now, during this COVID pandemic situation where a lot of people are also working remotely. How do we still keep that, together, the team together in both the empathy side as well as the productivity side? So I'm really looking forward to this afternoon conversation, and also all the inputs from our, people that is watching online now. We want to hear from you as well. So because it's not just three of us discuss and talk, but all of you are involved in this conversation.
Yes. Thank you so much, Elin, and thank you, Jean. That's awesome. So, guys, I'm seeing some really familiar names in here: Eugene, Shidi, Kamruzaman, Suto, Siang, Karunisa. Guys, if I can just call out to you, please share this live wire as it happens right now. You want people to weigh in during this live discussions. Tag 3 of your friends who are running organizations, they're running businesses, and they have asked you the same question. So please, by all means, like and share, and so that we can continue this powerful integration of debate and also the wisdom of the crowd, which will come from you guys. So please, by all means, let's just weigh in. So now that that's done, the first question is this, and I want to hear from the wisdom of the crowd, right? Now, why do you think empathy is important at the workplace? Kenapa dia tu penting? I mean, we talk about empathy, right? And we know it as human beings, right? If I see a kucing terbiar, or I see someone hurt, I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing and then go, hey, are you okay? So as a human being, I know empathy and compassion is important, but how is it important at the workplace, at tempat kerja? Maybe I can post this out to the coaches. Jean, you want to weigh in first?
Yeah, sure. Guys, as I'm talking, right, just put your answers on the chat. Yeah, because we really want to hear from every single one. So why is empathy important? Like Marisa said, if someone is crying next to you, if someone hasn't smiled the entire day, muka masam, look down the table the whole day, would we actually go to that person? Some people say, yeah, of course. Some people like, let me think about it. Some people like, pretend I didn't see. Is it important? I think from people's behaviors, we have a mix of answers. Something it is, something it's not. So I think from my experience, all I can say is it matters to that person. If anybody cares about me today, did anyone notice that I haven't looked up the whole day? Because my heart is so heavy, I just cannot. Did anyone even notice? And does anyone dare to come near me? Right? So of course, my opinion is yes, it's very important. It's not just important; it's very important.
It's very important.
I truly believe that when a person is down like that, it's going to impact the productivity of their work.
Okay, so it's truly important because somehow whether the person is is smiling or engaged, as Suto Xiang say, go over there and piak on the face. Apa pasal? Oh, Suto Xiang, I'm a bit scared of you now. And then Kamaru Sama says, yeah, cheer him up, and the better spin to this is empathy easier or harder to observe or notice or do in the virtual setting? Guys, I want to hear what you think, because a lot of people would say, yeah, easier, harder. But so if anything, empathy is important because it's tied to productivity. And if I can, why is empathy even more crucial now than it's ever been? Because as we work from home, whether kita phase 1 ke phase 2 ke phase 5, whatever phase that we're in, there is as we work remotely, it's almost such that our working condition, I cannot draw a line down the middle, ini kerja, ini personal. Ini kerja, ini personal. We could do that back then because we go to office, we start work, put on the executive hat, and then we deal with the problems or the challenges at home later once we go home. But now it is so meshed, it's intertwined. So how do we as leaders and workplace managers, how do we deal with that? Okay, so very, very good conversations. And if I can ask Eileen, why do you think empathy is important now more than ever at the workplace?
Yeah, I think when we have to work from home, we don't have the support of a team. So sometimes you have to face challenges by yourself at that moment. Because let's say we are in the office, when we face certain challenges, we can just walk over to a colleague's workstation and ask, hey, I got this challenge, how should I handle it? Or like you say, they can see my face, oh, my face is so down, I'm so sad. They may come over and say something, but now I'm working from home, nobody see me. I have challenges, I have to give a call, and they may not be able to pick up the call for whatever reasons, So I think it's even more important that we really do extra in a way to show empathy and to just give a call, send a text, ask, how are you doing, just something very simple, just to reach out. All the more is important now as we don't see each other. Because the support, especially for people that who needs to work in a team. We have people that who will, they are okay to work alone, they actually love it, they don't have to work with people, but there are people that who needs to work with other people. Then empathy become even more important because they don't have that personal touch, with the rest of the team member when, as compared to before. Yeah. So I think that even become more important in this current remote working condition. Yeah.
And I love what you're sharing, Elin, because it's almost it's not that empathy and compassion is important now. It's not that it's important now. In fact, it has always been important. It's just that the gap and the need for it is being called out more than ever, especially since we started to get months and a year and a half, almost 2 years, everybody, of being isolated, working on our own without the support of our team members, the culture that can support us. It's now more than ever. And Ami's gym, thank you, Physio, is definitely harder, but I think showing that there are people that genuinely care is important. Kita jaga kita tagline should be realized and lived. That is beautiful. Thank you so much, Physio. That is fantastic. And this is important. More so, the fact that in a virtual setting it is harder, it is calling out that we make the extra effort.
Yep.
And it's not that we have to make a grandeur effort. I mean, I call out to the coaches. Is it that I got to do something grand? Or is it I just have to do something? I just have to reach out. And it's actually a I hate to say this, a small act of kindness, but the ripples can be endless, right? The ripple effect is endless. We don't know where the kindness will stop because we don't know who we are saving, especially in the times of, it's a very difficult time for many Malaysians. How many of you know what I mean? Yeah, and when we talk about that difficulty, yes, Shidi says the support is you're part of a company family. It's not just your family, but your workplace family, that togetherness, because together is better. But in the virtual setting, how do we really exemplify that empathy? Wow. Wow,
That's so
so
true.
powerful.
That's so true. I think
Yes.
I just want to chime in here. What is it that we can do? Is it something that's so difficult, or is it something easy but maybe people don't know how? I mean, how many of you feel like, oh gosh, I want to do something but I don't know how? I personally met many people like that, because being in HR and being manager, get
Yeah.
so much opportunity to see people in the ups and downs, right?
Yes.
And I actually get to see how the team connect to their colleagues who are not feeling
Yeah.
so good that day, right? And many times, yeah, I sense that it's difficult for people because it's not a norm. It's not a day-to-day thing that people are down all the time, right? So we don't teach people
Mm.
how to respond to each other when they're down. So
Yeah.
the actually the first thing I see people do is they just shy away from that person. Like, I think that person is down lah. They need some space. Give them some space. Uh,
Mm.
don't
Mm.
kacau lah. I think they need quiet lah. Let them be quiet. So we don't
Yeah.
go near at all. We don't say a thing. They're not safe. Keep quiet. So suddenly the whole
Oh.
place sounds sometimes very quiet. The whole office.
Oh, wow, wow. So it's really interesting because Jean, as you talked about, maybe it's our own perception. Jangan kacau orang lah. This one is their personal issue. Jangan masuk campur. It can be a situation that is like that. So, for example, I really love what Amir's Jim here is talking about, kindness without expecting anything. However, sadly, many have become so suspect. Sometimes you help and then you say, "Hey, what do you want from me?" It can be the giver or the receiver, and that's
Right.
very interesting. How about just because? How about I just want to be kind just because? So this is a very powerful topic and we're getting into it, so I want to hear from all of you and the coaches. Please, let's weigh in. Why is empathy lacking in the workplace? What are your views? And I want to hear from you. But before I do that, and as you guys weigh in, I want to show you a poll that we did. Now, this poll is not the right and wrong, but it does show a certain sentiment of where a lot of leaders are, executives are, in their approach towards empathy and compassion. So let me show you this poll. All right, can you see this, gang? Okay. Guys, if you can see the poll, tell us what you think. And this poll that was done, I think, over a couple of weeks, is there room for compassion at the workplace? And what prevents it? And we want to hear from you. It's not the all and all, but at 53%, oh gosh, this is a big one. At 53%, the workplaces lack compassion because of busyness and work demand. How many of you can understand that? Oh my gosh, I'm so busy that I didn't notice him. I didn't notice her. And how many of us that happens to us? Yeah. Sarah, sometimes empathy is punished or backfire when we are misunderstood from our good intentions. Thank you so much, Sarah. That is beautiful. Love it. Guys, keep it coming. At 53%, just being busy. All right. No malicious intent. Just, I didn't see. The next biggest one, guys, is 26%. Can you see that? It takes extra emotional effort. That extra emotional effort is, gosh, I'm already exhausted with my own stuff. And then I gotta try and help somebody else out. How many of you feel like that? Say yeah. And then the third one, don't mix personal issues at work. This is a very interesting one, but I wasn't surprised. I have to say I wasn't surprised. Okay, don't mix personal issues at work, because when we go to the office, we know what hat to wear. Okay, I am CEO hat. Okay, I am senior manager hat. But when I am at home, those personal and those business work challenges all become one in the same. How many of you know what I mean? And then this becomes an issue. But one thing that I was surprised at is the last one. Appearing weak to co-workers, and only 2%. That's very interesting. But I really want to talk a little bit about that. So let's weigh in. I don't like hats. I believe in equality. Yes, it's all the same, because we are not human doings. We are human beings. Thank you, Sarah Law. Very, very nice. Oh, we have a question coming in, but let's take that as we go along. So guys, this is a poll that we did, but we certainly want to hear from you. Why, in your opinion, is empathy and compassion lacking in workplaces? What do you think? If I can just draw this out. Jean, Elin, you want to give it a go?
Yeah. Eileen, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think in addition to the four, that we stated in the poll, the other thing is also sometimes they do not know how to, because I do not know how to, therefore I don't do it, because I'm worried that if I do it, I may offend people, I may make people feel uncomfortable, so I just don't do it, because anyway, I done my work, work is work. Yeah. So I think the how to do it, the small steps that we can do, even when we want to talk to people, how do we communicate? All those things may also be a hindrance to some of us to step out and really show care to others. Yeah.
So
get misunderstood,
we get
for
misunderstood.
intention. Yeah.
Yes. No, and Elin, this is fantastic. I just want to call out a question by Jolene. Sometimes I feel like I'm intruding on their personal space. Some will want to share, but some don't, and some won't. So how do we know when to approach and when not to? Oh gosh, that's a very good question. And another question by Eric is also fantastic. But guys, let's chime in on Jolene's question first. Okay. Jean, how about you take this one? It's a good one. Some will want to close it off, and some will want to open up. So what do I do?
Right. I think it's not just Jolene. So I'm seeing, what Sarah is saying. Sarah Hebon Lau is saying. we do have that fifth element, which is
Yeah.
not called out in the poll. It seems like culture is
Culture.
in play here, right? So Malaysian culture, yeah, sometimes we say, don't kacau people lah, just watch what you are doing. Like, take care of yourselves. Don't go bother others, right? So it's not so much that people don't have empathy, but I think it's also the cultural expectations whether to bother the person. Is it time to do so? And how do we know, like Jolene, how do we know that they want us to do that or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, let me pose the question to all of us. How would we know when a person's face is down, not looking up, looking sad? We have to ask before we know. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to take the risk, like, was it, yeah, Sarah, that says that sometimes it backfires.
What you think I'm not okay? Is it what make you think I'm not okay? Huh? Why? You look down on me? And I say that comically. I say that comically, but many of us do reach out, and then what happens? The receiver
Right.
doesn't know how to receive compassion.
Mm.
So I would also ask. It's a two-way street. Can you imagine clapping the hand with one hand? Nothing will happen, but it's the giving and the receiving that's so important, that perhaps that's also something that we have to be able to do. And that's why that last question, that I was surprised, because empathy and compassion is about vulnerability. We have to ask to check if people are okay, but also if we don't ask, what are the issues that we have faced? Is people get depressed, they suffer and they struggle on their own. So much so, Malaysians, rakyat, people are taking their lives. And they're not taking their own lives, they're taking their children's lives because they are struggling themselves. So if it's not empathy and compassion now or at the workplace, don't bring your problems to work and all this, then how do we enable more empathy? So this is very, 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 very powerful. I love what Amir's Jim talked about. It does not need to come down from the top. The line is very fine. Just sometimes saying, I'm here if you need, rather than talk to me. Just being approachable. Just being approachable. And I read somewhere, and I'm not sure if, Elin, Jean, if you've come across this, the open door policy. Open door policy, I've read somewhere, is not really working. Yeah, my door's always open. Come and talk to me. If something wrong with you, you don't come and talk to me. Hey, hello, my door open. A lot of bosses
Don't say I
do
didn't
that
invite
and
you,
say, don't say door open, kakang there. Hello, never come. Maybe Elin, would you like to weigh in on this if you've heard this before?
Yeah, I think it's still you can say that you have the open policy, but what do you do with it? Do you also, my door is open, you can always come in. But at the same time, I think we need to provide a space and a time where really can come together and talk about things. Like Amir Jim was saying that, let's have a cup of tea. Besides saying that my door is open, I may, okay, maybe this Friday morning, let's have a morning tea session. We just go to the pantry and talk. Okay, now we are not in the office, we can't go to the pantry. Let's come on a virtual meeting. We bring your coffee, tea, whatever snack you like, and I also bring mine. Just come over and have a conversation. So I think, especially as leaders and business owners and managers, I think we can provide that kind of space, either a weekly thing or a monthly thing, that we really allow our team members to have that sharing time. Or even over lunch, the lunch gathering. Now we still can do it, we still can bring our lunch, and then in front of camera we talk, and then we eat. So I think those are the more, in a way, casual and situation where you build that trust, you build that safe, I would say, the safe space for them to share. So when really, if they have any issue, they feel more comfortable to come and talk to us, because we already built that kind of relationship, we built that kind of foundation for them to come and talk. Yeah, I think that is also important. Not just say, I have an open door policy, just come in as you want. But the psychological barrier is not broken down yet.
Yeah.
So I think that will be additional thing.
Very, very powerful stuff that you shared. Come and run with you, Shidi. Lagi stress. You marathon punya. Lagi stress. My compassion will be behind. Thank you. But Shidi, that's a good point. You see, I mean,
No, Shidi's gonna slow down.
He better slow down and wait for us.
Yeah, let's have a
better
slow
have
job.
empathy, empathy on us. Oh, cannot run fast when I run very slow, and Kamaru Zaman talks about missing the Teh Tarik sessions. Totally getting your point. But you see, this is the thing. The thing about open door policy is bosses say that, hey, my door is always open. Come and talk to me. But and if the employees don't, for whatever reason, it is perhaps in our empathy, in our ability to reach out. And I love what Fizia from Amir's Gym has talked about. Is open door policy is having a session. I mean, being proactive to organize the time consistently so that your employees just know that you're always there. And one of the things that is so critical in compassion is don't discount how difficult it is to ask for help when we are in trouble. You see, if I am in the most challenging state in my mind, how is it possible for me to open up my mouth and even know what I want to ask a question around? That's what open door policy is saying. You gotta come up and ask me, let alone risk the fear of looking incompetent to your boss. Hello? And ask for help. Hello? And then have to design what I want to ask him or her. How do I do that? That's why open door policy has started to fail in the virtual culture. That's very wow. That's a very thank you so much, Eileen, for rhyming in. I love all the questions that are coming. So I'm gonna get to some of these questions, yo. Hey Zul, how are you? Shidi, better wait for us, Okay, so I'm gonna get to Eric. Eric gave us a really good question. So if we can show that up, please, gang. Eric asked a really good question. Sometimes when we offer help to other colleagues, we fear that they don't want to look incapable and then they push our help away. In this kind of condition, how can we support others better without them feeling they are incapable? Wow, this is a really good one.
Can I take that?
Chime in.
Just continuing from earlier on, Marissa, I was just saying, how do we know that they want to be approached or not?
Yeah.
So I like to, and it's connected to Eric's question too. How do we get started? And I like the fact that Amir's Jim is saying, I think we need to ask permission because we are going into someone's space and we don't know, right? This is a situation where we don't know if they welcome our question or not. Yeah. So I think first it comes with our mindset. I was thinking like, can we go ask without expecting anything? Mm-hmm. Like, hi, I noticed that you're looking down and not your usual self like before. Is everything okay? Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk? But no expectations. If they say, and it's okay if you don't feel like talking right now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if we can share that, because sometimes I feel like, when we ask people like, whatever it is, would you like to have coffee? Would you like to have something? And then they go like, they feel obligated to say yes, but they can't say yes.
It's totally Asian.
Totally Asian. Yeah. Especially if it's their manager that's asking the question. Are you manager? I say no.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I just want to put that out. Like, how do you get that going? How do you get that going? So if I'm a friend, right, this is my colleague, right, I talk to every day. I'm like, then it's easier like, hey, I notice you're not feeling so normal and like
Yeah.
wanting to talk. Is everything okay? Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about it? What is okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just want you to know that I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that Jean, it's helping with no expectation. So you see Eric is chiming in there, that you're approaching people with no real expectation, because sometimes I don't know if any of you have this out there, that I try to help one, but then the reaction so bad one, after that I don't want to help anymore. I keep all my help to myself. And
Mm.
sometimes our help, if you really think about it, is conditional to the reaction that someone gives you. Is your
Yeah.
compassion conditional?
That's right.
Or I've just asked, I didn't have any expectation. I'll even challenge us the next step. Do they even need to ask you for help? Do they even need to ask? Or can you help first? Offer the help first. I don't care if you need it. Hey, I'm going to take that part of the project. I'm going to do it first. Hey, this part, can I just send it out? Okay, why don't we divide and conquer? I'll take this, you take that. Okay, we'll get it done together. You don't even need to, where you need me to help, huh? Is that even possible? Because that's so true. Thank you so much, Eric. Oh my gosh, that question just opened up such a powerful conversation. Suto Siang. I will check with the person that is close to him or her, get some tips and some idea, so that I can get a correct and proper approach. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you, Suto Siang. I love it. Sarah, what we can recommend is a mentor-mentee program, a reward transformation, and extraordinary stories or results from this program, a compassion program, to be able to train people to build that culture. I love it. Sarah Law, that's amazing. Thank you. That's so powerful. I'll go to another question because the questions are so amazing. Guys, keep it all coming. I saw another question. Did I miss it? Hang on. Okay. Nick Karunisa asking behalf of a friend. His management refuses to listen to employee challenges. In fact, they don't care about employee issues. Alamak. And as long as the KPI is achieved, how to inform/tell the management to be empathetic or understand toward employees? Wow, Nisa, this is fantastic. Before I go there, often the statement, Jim, often the statement of I am doing this with you, especially in relation to workplace projects.
That's
Okay,
right.
absolutely, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Fizia. Brilliant. Let's go back to
Nick.
Nick Karunisa. Wow. Who wants to weigh in? Brilliant.
I just want to say, Nick, I feel for you. This is very common in the workplace. This is real. This is very real, especially in workplaces where the KPI is, units done. All right, show me. It's the number changes all the time, so it's like the managers is looking at that that KPI board, and so the minute you bring up something that requires empathy, it means you're slowing down that number change on the board. Yeah, I don't like that. The stock market is like going down. So,
how many units can I produce? Because of empathy, my production drops.
Yeah, it's gonna take me 5 minutes. That tarik session, 5 minutes. Drop down really number. So there are many management that has that result to meet every day that does not understand what empathy is all about.
Right.
It's real. So this question is a very tough question. How do you get managers like this to understand that it's okay to be empathetic at work? It's okay to talk about personal issues at work? Because it's real. There are management that will tell you, don't bring your personal issues to work, okay? You park it at the door before you come in the door.
Exactly.
You come into work, you put on your work hat 100%. When you want to go out the door, that time you can bring it along with you, like your personal issues.
And that's the challenge. How do we do that now? How can we possibly do that now? Because where we work and where all of our personal issues all lie in the same vicinity. It's hard because as I am dealing with a major project or a major deal, I got my kids running around and an elderly parent that I need to look after. And all these are all happening in the same space. So how do we do that? So Tosiang, I have been working with such management when I'm employed in Hong Kong. So this is really, really good. Thank you for sharing this, Nisa. And before I go to Elin to chime in a little bit on this powerful stuff that Jean has shared, it's another survey that I've read somewhere where if the direct boss is empathetic, employees, the direct subordinates in that survey were willing to work overtime and put in 5 times more effort, initiative, energy, emotion into the project. So, to the contrary, empathy removes productivity. In studies shown, empathy actually promotes productivity. And if I can, let's don't look very far to some kind of survey in the UK or whatever. Let me ask you here. How many of you, I mean, some of you are bosses here, but that's okay. So imagine you were working for somebody. If you were working for somebody and your boss was an empathetic one, a compassionate one who cared about you, who asked you how you felt every single day, somebody that asked you, would you work harder for this person or less? What would you do? If you say harder, type harder. Tell me, would you go all out for this boss? More than a boss that, where's the numbers? Where's the numbers? Tell me. Tell us what you would do. Wow. Suto Xiang says harder. Wow. So guys, keep your responses coming. Sarah Law says harder. Come on, guys. Very, very good. That's awesome.
Only
So
two
Elin,
people who work harder.
Only two will work harder. the rest will be like, what does my boss want?
Empathy doesn't matter lah.
Eugene say harder. There you go. There you go. Eugene's another very compassionate boss. Teasing out
Pray harder.
Pray harder.
Yeah, very good. Elin, what about you? Let's weigh into Nick Kyranisa's question earlier.
Yeah, the thing, Marissa, I agree with you. I do not see showing empathy or being empathetic will affect the productivity or performance in the long run. It may initially, because I may have to have more time to go and deal with this particular stuff, empathetically give the person opportunity, give the person training, development, so that the person can grow. That may be initially you have to spend some time, but in the long run, you will see the productivity going up instead of coming down, because we are helping the person to overcome the challenges they're facing, remove the hindrances that they are blocking them from performing, because that is ultimately what the leader should supposed to do. We look at what is coming, we look at the future, we make sure that there's no obstacles or hindrances, or we help them to remove those hindrances and obstacles together with them. Yeah. So for me, like in the situation, I would say that we still have to feedback and show and explain and talk to the management that how actually being understanding and empathetic will help them to become better.
Sure.
For example, let's say I may have to have some flexible working hour for a single mom who has to take care of the children and working. Being understanding and empathetic, I give the person a flexible working hours. The person will be appreciative, like some of you have said, I'm going to work harder to make sure that, this kind of understanding or in a way like a special arrangement given to me is being rewarded as well. So I think this is how we still should be able to go, not say we should go back to the management and show them and explain to them. Of course, we will know that some will still need a lot of time, because like what Jean has said, it's also the culture of the company.
Yeah.
Are they so performance oriented and so result oriented that there's no the human factor into any of the equation? So I think that is also a culture that they need to slowly build. But to feedback, I think we should continue to feedback on how they feel. I mean, how the team feel about the whole situation. Yeah.
So we're talking about feeding back, we're getting to some of the mechanisms, and I love it, guys. We're getting into some of the mechanisms on how do we inject empathy and compassion into the workplace while a glaring elephant in the room is where a lot of leaders or bosses would think that empathy reduces productivity. So, how is it that we can cultivate? And I would love to hear from all of you. How do we cultivate empathy, compassion, all right, to look after one another while at the same time being able to prioritize productivity and performance? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not one or the other. And the challenge is if businesses also fail to be productive and perform, employees do go get out of jobs. It does affect things in the long run too. So there is a need to be able to have both. We're not being naive as to say, yeah, empathy, and where do I go that this just goes too far, that productivity and performance cannot be called on. So how do we have the best of both? If possible, or maybe it's not possible, you guys can tell us. Yeah. And if I can, I want to reach out to the wisdom of the crowd. Many of you here run organizations, and I would love to hear from you. But perhaps I can throw this to the coaches. So, Jean, Elin, what are some ways that we can have both of these met at the same time?
Yeah. I think for me, we all know it is not easy.
Yeah.
Because if you have that direct session, you take 5 minutes, you take 15 minutes, you still have to meet the number at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But I just love all these answers that I'm seeing here that, everyone of you say, I work harder, I like Rahayu that says, with my heart and soul and all that, right? So if I have my 15-minute direct session with you, and at the end of the day, you give me your heart and soul, and we still get the numbers there together. I mean, we're talking about that combination, right, Marissa?
Yes.
So will that empathy session, will that session that shows compassion, help us to get to the result that we need as a company together, right? So I think I'm here to just encourage everyone. The results have shown that if you have empathy and compassion, it actually increases your results at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It actually does, right? So I think that's the comfort for leaders to know. And hopefully all the leaders are here, right? But then for those of you, your leaders are not here, you're facing a leader that has not seen that research results, do not believe that productivity will go up, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a long journey, right? But I do want to, this famous John Maxwell quote came to my mind, which says, they don't care how much we know until they know how much we care.
Okay. That is
right?
powerful.
So that's so powerful. And that itself speaks about how important it is to care.
Yeah. And while we talk about care, I'll just speak out loud some of the concerns that would be on the minds of the managers and the leaders that are in this room. Sometimes we can exercise too much empathy. So I want to ask this question, and I'll maybe call out to Elin here. When is it when it's too much empathy? Because look, I care about you. I know that you are maybe a single mom, your kids are at home. They are not responsive to the virtual form of learning because sometimes it's really hard for the 5-6-year-old kids to focus, and it's really a challenge. And so when it is empathy on something like that versus sometimes it is overdone, and when it's overdone, when is it overdone? When do I pull myself back? And as a leader, I need to be able to call it and say, hey, you know what? We've empathized, but look, we really need to get this done. If not, projects are going to fail. You're going to let people down. Money is going to be gone and wasted. But it's got to get to a certain extent. So when is it overdone? Yeah, maybe Elin, rhyme in there.
Yeah, I think from the beginning, I think the expectation must be set right as well. Be clear as well. For example, like I mentioned just now, the single mom, we are able to give the flexibility in terms of working hours, in terms of clocking in and clocking out. But the the expectation must already set from the beginning that this is what it has to be achieved within the agreed time period of time. And there could be just a season, like for a season of 2 months, we will support you on this kind of situation, this kind of arrangement, because the house, the family side is this way. Or even it's going to be a long term. However, the results that we want to see still have to be clear from the beginning. I mean, to me, is that we show understanding and empathy in one point, but also state clearly this is a result that we want to see at the stated time. And when really things doesn't work, I think there should be an ongoing conversation with the person.
Okay.
Because it could be that this particular area of job and responsibility is not suitable for this person. Could it be another area? Can we, transfer the person to another area? There could be many, many options to being empathy, but not sacrificing the performance and the results they want to see. I think that is all going back to the conversation we're going to have, set clear expectation from both sides, and do a consistent or a regular follow-up onto what we have agreed upon and the progress of the performance, so that we don't after a long period of time, 3 months, and then we realize that everything is falling through the cracks, the project is going to be delayed by, a month, that I think that both parties will get into trouble. But to have consistent still, regular follow-up, regular monitoring that this is on track. So I think though this may create a little bit more efforts into it, but it will make sure that while we are showing empathy, we will still see the results that we want. Yeah. And the other thing also, I want to add on to just now, Nick, questions about we have to feedback to our management on the situation they are faced. I think we also need to show empathy. It's not that just the bosses showing empathy to the team members, but also team members should be able to show empathy and understanding to the bosses and the managers as well, because it's something mutual. Because I said, as a manager and leader, I realized, hey, you're also trying to understand my situation. Let's work on it. It's a mutual understanding and mutual showing empathy, in that sense. So I think it will be getting a better results from there.
And
than
I
just
love that.
expecting, my leader, my boss have to do this to me. It's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing, and I love that you share that. Oh my gosh, if I can just shine a spotlight on that, Elin, I think you nailed it on the head. All of us are new at this virtual thing, this whole remote working thing. All of us are new, but sometimes as executives, we put so much emphasis that, hey, you manager, you kena tahu lah, you gotta know. But hey, as the manager, I'm also new at this. So I like that it's probably keeping the keeping the lines open, that there is feedback and calling for the feedback, asking for it. Yes, Jolene, it's agreement
Both
that it's
ways.
both way, a win-win situation.
That's
Love
right.
it. Fizia talks about this. Our team is small, only 10, but say if someone had leave because of a family issue, just asking if everything is okay, just checking in, and do you need any support, if there's something important, just touching base, not necessarily trying to find out the nuts and bolts, but just acknowledging may be enough. Hey, Ami's gym physio, that's fantastic, because it's not rocket science. There's no rocket science about this. It's just that extra effort to just go, hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Versus, okay, you cannot make it, okay, but next, hey, who can fill up this slot? It's kind of like business as usual. It's to just make that extra effort. My gosh, I love that. Thank you. Let's call it out a little bit more.
Like going back to the poll, right, Marisa? It takes extra emotional effort, and that's why people don't show empathy sometimes. We are already so focused on the task to be done, and to switch from task to emotions, it's sometimes two compartments in some people's brain.
My brain, yeah.
It's like, I cannot shift now. I'm already on my task brain, right? So it requires effort to like stop, pause, shift, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, but once you do that, wow.
Yeah. And in actual fact, you know, sometimes when we don't even want to turn on that emotional side of our brain, it's whether we as leaders can go there to be able to support someone from that area of our life, from that area of our abilities, instead of something just so logical and KPI. And I mean, this was an article that came out some time ago, that why is empathy, and one really big glaring fact that came across when empathy is not part of a workplace is it's not any of the KPI. Have any of you seen empathy as a KPI in any of the organizations that you're in? Oh my gosh. And when I thought about that, the answer was like, no, huh? We have employee engagement. Like,
Yeah.
oh, how engaged the employee is, but how managers and leaders empathize, that, you know, wow, that was mind blowing.
Or even compassion, right? As a
Yeah.
behavior.
Compassion. Yeah.
How many
How do
companies
you
do
even begin to measure
compassion?
that? How do you begin to
Compassion
measure that?
index.
Oh
Compassion
wow, my gosh. Hey, any of you design that, you come and talk to us, okay? We want
Yeah.
to ask you, all right? Yes, stop, pause, and shift. So we get to the tail end. We've had a lot of discussions on strategies, yeah. What are some of your coaches? I'll reach out to you guys. You guys, we have been doing a lot of work with many different organizations, and we're also involved with AirAsia in enabling the compassion in these companies, yeah. And it's not an overnight thing, but it's definitely something that warrants our focus as leaders. And if it doesn't begin with us, we can't expect it to begin with our employees. It's got to come as a mirror from us first, right? What would be some tips or advice that you could share for us and our crowd here? And guys, the wisdom of the crowd gang, I want you to write in what you think as well as your killer giveaways or advice on how we can enhance empathy and compassion at the workplace. How do we start, and what can we do? So maybe I'll post this across to maybe Jean, Elin. Which one of you want to share first?
You can share one each.
Wow.
Yeah, keep going,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, the
Yeah,
list is
please
long.
do.
So I think first off for
Wow.
me, it has to be a culture, meaning
Yeah.
it has to be something that we do every day.
Yeah.
So I think teaching people to just start with, hey, good morning, how's everyone today? I think something like that going to the office, it's something that will allow the managers to see who's okay, who's not okay, right? Versus just walk in, keep quiet, everything, and then just go and make a cup of coffee, come sit down, and then take 1 hour to before you start talking. That's very common in most offices. So I would say we need to embed in the first question to ask. So it can be first thing in the morning, first thing in your meetings, first thing during lunch. Let's ask the person that we are next to, how are you doing today? How's your day?
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing, but I see that it's not practiced in many companies.
Mm.
Versus,
Mm.
so if they don't ask that, you know what's the question that is the first question? Hey, how's work?
Housework. That project how? And Jean, I love that very much. It's just also so aligned with what Yo Mingzi shared. It's moving from just doing to being. You know, and it's caring about each and every person that we're
Absolutely.
with, instead of just busting some task in your to-do list and your checklist. It's actually just being really aware of the people that you're working with, you know, and then reaching out to others, instead of just to be, you know, just concerned about your own well-being. Reaching out, that's a very good one. Thank you so much, Jean. And if I can go to Elin, yeah. Before I go to Elin, guys, let's call it out. If you guys have any more tips and strategies, we definitely want to hear from you. Elin, what about you?
Yeah, in addition to what Jean says, of course, greeting, good morning when you want to go back, goodbye, or even, over Friday, have a good weekend. All those are simple things that we can do with greetings.
Yeah.
And our meetings, I think the meetings, especially our team meetings, we may not want to start with, let's look at the progress of the project or let's look at the progress of the work, but to talk about the being first, you know. I know that in our organization, the Spark Group, we have a ritual where we said, you know, what you feel like express. Talk about that first. And it's like a check-in, you know, it's a check-in today. How is my feeling? What do I feel? You know, anything that going to stop me from being present or not today. So those are more being kind of questions. So we may start with that. And another thing is that even start with celebrations of what we have done, you know, start with gratitude. I think these are more light moments, you know, like we don't start with like, oh, KPI achieve or not, you know, did we achieve this target? Did we achieve that target? How's the progress of this project? You know, we don't start with the hard thing, but to start with the softer thing, things that touch our heart, things that touch our emotion first. A simple questions, you know, how do you feel today? Even as the start of a meeting, let everybody, I think initially people will feel, why do you want to know how I feel today? Right? You know, it's like so weird, but it will help us to, we have to start somewhere. As we do it regularly, people will get into it, and then we start to know, oh, actually this person today is not feeling so you know, so happy because something happened last night or something happened before this meeting, you know, get scolded by the client. I mean, those are things that lighter moments, so-called, to open people up, you know. So I think we touch their emotion, touch their being first. I mean, we start to do more of this.
That is fantastic. So it's almost keeping a consistent exercise to creating a platform for people to share and for people to share, and then it's a platform for us to be able to reach out and to be able to support one another. And I love both of your sharings, and I just want to also say this: the people that are in trouble. You know, if I am the compassionate giver, there's so much that I can go, hey, are you okay? Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Shut up lah, I'm okay. you can keep doing that, right? But in actual fact, you know, it's so funny because sometimes, but if we are in trouble, and that's one thing that I want to be able to call out to all of us here, if we are ever in trouble, the thing that we also need to do is we need to be able to ask, to be able to call it out. We cannot expect people to be able to look into our brain, our heart, our emotion, and then figure out how to help us. We too need to be able to say, actually, I'm stuck. And that's a certain level of vulnerability that a lot of us in our Asian culture, me too, that is very difficult for us to do. How many of you understand that? Say, Rahayu is laughing there, you know. But
how to ask, memalukan.
And then I look like
Embarrassing.
gee, I cannot do my job, but I need help. That's so true. How many of you want that for our next topic? Vulnerability. Say you want us to talk about vulnerability or
Yes.
not? Right. Oh, yes.
So many yes already.
That's a whole other topic we will save for the next live wire. Okay, help.
That's true. But it's no laughing matter, actually.
It's
no
not.
laughing matter.
It's
And
so
actually,
serious.
I think our pandemic season has brought us to that state where these topics are now coming up more and more and more. And I'm actually so glad because
white
these are
flag.
things that are so important to talk about. You know, in good times and all, it's very hard to talk about these things. Very hard. But now it's very real, right? People are feeling
It's
it.
very real.
And it's very real. Let's talk about it.
It's okay. Yes, it is okay to tell people you're not okay. And that's the first step of acceptance. Oh my gosh, we could go on for like another 1 hour. All right, gang. All right. So we've had an amazing session. We're up to the hour. Thank you all for joining us, all of our crowd. We totally enjoyed your wisdom of the crowd.
Yes.
So those of you, wow, that have been adding on the value to this conversation, we want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I want to call out
Rahayu, Marissa, so good, right? Not like that.
Sorry, I'm like a Doraemon up here. Okay, I'm like just okay. Thank you so much, Kamaro Zaman. You guys are awesome, guys. If you want to be able to know more, please follow our Spark Group Asia Facebook. We will do these conversations every 2 weeks, all right, if we can. But what I want to say is, please write to us at Sarah at thesparkgroup.asia. Sarah, as in SARAH, at thesparkgroup.asia. Write to us an issue that you're handling. And for us, we will build a live wire. Honestly, today's topic is actually people that have written in and have asked for us to run this topic. And because when we heard from you, we realized it's something that we don't have a right and wrong, a correct, wrong, black, white. But we know this discussion will support you as you run your organization. So please write to us personally. We will build a live wire out of it. So if I can, I just like to say thank you for everybody being here with us. And I want to be able to say thank you to Coach Jean, Coach Elin, for being here and chiming in your wisdom as well from all the different businesses and leaders that you've worked with. And for those of you who want more, please check us out on the Spark Group Asia and follow us. All right. So thank you very much, all of you. It's been really awesome.
Thank you for joining and sharing your opinions and inputs.
Yeah, love all your comments. Yeah. Join us again, so that we can continue to talk about real life issues that impact work.
It's so powerful because not everything we can have a procedure to. Not everything there's a textbook to. Yeah, you see teh tarik and nasi lemak ke nasi alamak is nasi alamak is a different thing, okay? Looking forward. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much, Nick Karonisa. Thank you, Rahayu. Thank you, all of you. Wow, gang. Thank you very much, everybody. We hope to see you soon. Take care and bye.
Typo error.
Oh my gosh. Thank you very much, guys. All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
See
Bye
you
for
again.
now.
Bye-bye.